Ask Jake about the many times he's been mistaken for me,
Really?
or vice versa.
Britton, what's it mean to you the first time to make the initial 53?
Yeah, it's great. I've been cut twice, and so I know how that is. I know how difficult of a day that is for so many people, and just how a lot of times I think that it's not the most accurate reflection of how good you are, right? Sometimes it's just a matter of numbers and logistics and draft picks and who's being kept. So, to anyone out there who's been cut, it's understanding your value, your worth, and just keep fighting. So for me, I just, steps in the right direction. So grateful to be here. I feel like I had a great camp. I played as well as I probably could have. And anything past that is just outside of my control. So kind of similar to the last 2 years, I just own whatever my role is going to be, dominate in that, and hope that that role increases. So.
What did you make of the Dotson trade?
Yeah, you're not really surprised by anything after being in this league for a few years. So it's not that I was expecting it, but you're not surprised by anything like that. And objectively, did we get better as a team from that trade? Yes. So totally understand the positioning and thinking behind it. And just like I said, I still think that I showed enough, and I have showed enough over multiple years that they can use me on the offensive side of the ball, and we'll just see what's in store for that. But like I said, I view myself as a great player and a slot receiver, and I think that Jahan's played mainly on the outside, and we're mixing in Smitty, so we'll see what happens. But wasn't surprised by it. Happy to have him here. Happy to have I've been a part of some dang good receiving groups. You know what I mean? So just another opportunity to learn, and not surprised by it. So it's going to be a good group, a really good group.
Do you feel like your value increased in the way the offense changed?
I do. Yeah, I do. Obviously, time will tell, but I think more than anything, there's just a comfortability while I'm out there. I've spoken to you guys about how Jalen talks to me, how the coaches talk to me, and so when I go out there, if I'm the receiver or whatever it is, I won't be wide-eyed. No one will be wide-eyed. It's just business as usual. So that's a great feeling. And the offense during preseason is very vanilla. So we'll see how that kind of shifts and adjusts during the season as you get more into game planning and packages. But right now, like I said, same as last year mentality of just, okay, what's my role? I'm going to own it. And as you own that, your role increases.
What did it take to attain that level of comfort?
Putting your pride down and acknowledging where your weaknesses are and just working. And at the same time, knowing what your strengths are and what other people can't do. I think that's what I've seen in my 3 years of who sticks around in NFL squads, and it's how special are you in certain things. And so just capitalizing on that and those opportunities. And everybody wants more opportunities. It's a lot of times it feels, for everyone's felt, like, oh, you just wish you could get more opportunities, but that's outside of your control. And so as the old adage that's, probably you've heard 100 times as media and you get sick of, but it really is, that's what you have to do as a player, is only worry about what is in your control.
As a receiver, where do you think you've improved the most over the past couple of years?
Yeah, I think I have improved because I've always been really quick and prided myself on separation. And I think now I've started to understand leverage and watching Devontae and how he avoids getting himself in sticky situations. In the slot, outside, you got the sideline to work with, all this stuff. In the slot, you're having to manage a lot because you're having to manage linebackers and corners and safeties. A lot of times as an outside receiver, it's just one-on-one with a corner. Sometimes you got a safety over the top. Whereas as a slot, you really got to think. So I've always prided myself on thinking and knowing exactly what to do, what page to be on. The slot has a lot to think about. So,
Take two more. How much have you looked into the future opponents? What do you think of the division?
yeah.
The linebackers, the people you have to pay attention to?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say not too much yet. I've looked into the Packers a lot, and I've told you guys this before. I try to watch as much or more film than anybody, and as my role was punt return mostly the last 2 years, I promise you I watched more punt clips than any person in the entire NFL. And so as my role hopefully increases, I'll watch just as much defensive film or whatever that is, just because you look for any edge that you can get, especially, I'm not some 6'4" guy who's just ripped. You got to find your edge in different ways and just try and be your unique self.
Is that why you sort of gravitated towards Devontae? Sorry.
I'll get her after, yeah.
You and I have talked about Devontae in the past, and he's not the biggest receiver in the world. Do you kind of gravitate toward him because of that?
Yes, absolutely. And the guys that I've mentioned to you that I've seen on film so many times, there's an understanding of how to use your body. I've never viewed my size as a disadvantage. I've always viewed it as an advantage ever since high school when I played quarterback, right, throwback. But understanding your body, people always ask me, what's the most important thing you can tell a young kid? And I think just body control, understanding your body, what you're good at, what you're not good at, building on your strengths, organizing to make weaknesses irrelevant.
With the summer in the books, what stands out to you about Kellen's vision for the offense and just like his approach to helping you get to where that vision is?
I think that it's one thing to be smart, it's another thing to teach smart, and I think he does a really good job of teaching it. Because I've played for so many coaches in my lifetime, and I'd say most all of them are really smart. Teaching it is really difficult, and so he does a good job of simplifying it in almost a sequence that helps you understand it more. And I think that's why Jalen's going to be great in this offense. I think that's why the whole offense will be on the same page. It might take a little bit of time, as it always does, but teaching it is a skill, and I think he has that.
Thanks, Braden. We'll get Thomas program.
Oh, how y'all doing today?
What's up, Fred?
I'm chilling. This is new. This before. We'll see. We'll see.
What was the biggest difference for you this summer compared to last summer?
Biggest difference was just, last summer I was just trying to prove that I belong. This summer I was trying to show my improvement from last year to this year and try to fill in that role of like whatever, my coach needed me to do, whatever this team needed me to do. Whether that's, be versatile or hone in on one spot. So
Where do you think that improvement, what do you think the biggest improvement you made was?
I think the biggest improvement, honestly, was just mentally, trying to stay focused and stay locked in every day to whatever it is that I had to do. And if I made a mistake, don't make that same mistake again. And basically just constantly trying to find new things to work on, new things to, hone my game. Be ready whenever my number's called.
During the preseason, Nick Sirianni was asked for one player that improved the most, and he singled you out. Did that get back to you? And if so, what did you make of it?
It got back to me. My mom sent it to me, and she was just like, "Look at my baby." I'm like, "Come on, please, just chill." It meant a lot because I work hard and I try to it's good to see that that appreciation from somebody else, especially the head coach. And I think that next day I had the worst practice of camp, so it kind of went over my head very quickly. But it meant a lot to be recognized. That it's not like what I'm doing is for naught, and the upstairs are seeing what I'm doing. So it was very, very humbling.
I think we've seen you play both sides. Do you have a side that you're more comfortable on?
Whatever they want me to do. I don't really care. I played right guard all of college, and when I got into the league, I was a guard, and then I got transitioned to tackle. When I was with the Bengals, and when I got here, I was just any tackle they put me at for the practice squad, and now it's just trying to show that versatility. I guess whenever they need me to go in, go in. Malata needs a rep out, Lane needs a rep out, just whoever it is, just tell me where I got to go.
Could you,
So
would
as
you
a
help out
as a
at,
former-
can I follow up real quick? Could you step in at guard if need be, or is that something you haven't done?
I mean, I haven't practiced it ever, so I don't know. But I mean, they needed something, you know. Like I said, just to be available, just to be ready. You know, just give me a couple reps, and you know, it's like riding a bike, probably.
So, as far as, being a former guard and stuff, do you have an appreciation of like Mekhi Becton, coming here as a tackle and then, ended up as a right guard?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like it's not just something that just happens. Like you have to be a gifted athlete, like Mekhi is, and you have to, you know, try to, you know, adapt to, like I said, the need for the position, and you know, actually try to, you know, do what the coach is asking you to do. I mean, going from guard to tackle, tackle to guard, it's all the same. It's just different ways about going about your day at practice and the things in between plays and stuff like that.
What's the biggest thing you've learned from Jordan and from Lane?
The biggest thing, basically just get out my own way of thinking. Like when I got here, I was so hard headed, and I ain't want to listen to nobody, especially Stout. And Stout just said, you know, I'm not gonna quit on you. I'm not gonna give up on you, and that's just something that, you know, I appreciate him the most for, because I was on my way out the league when I got in, like I said, last year. And this year, you know, Stout, whatever you need, I'm here, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Like we don't need to do no more coach me up, you know, babysitting, no, gotta get Fred ready to go today. I'm ready whenever you need me to.
How did he earn your trust?
Huh?
How did he earn your trust?
He earned my trust by just never giving up on me, you know, just day in and day out. I was on practice squad. He was coaching me like I was a starter. I got tired of it. I'm like, please stop. And then when I finally got the extension or the guaranteed contract, he was just like, hey, you work for it. And even now, he still tells me, you know, I love you. You know, you're doing great things. And then he'll throw in his little 2 cents of what could get better, what could be, you know, better. And it's just the light of where I take the coaching. It's not he's trying to belittle me or tear me down. He's trying to build me up.
Where did that initial mindset stem from? Doubt?
What was Stout?
Doubt? Or
Doubt. I mean, I was on practice squad. I was mad at everybody. I was mad at any and everybody. I was on practice squad. Bounced around the league a couple times, you know. And once you hit rock bottom, you hit rock bottom. It's either you keep going down or you build yourself back up. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without Stout, you know, Lane telling me, you know, hey, you got it. Just figure it out.
You said he was getting on you like you were a starter when you were in practice squad last year. I guess what kind of stuff specifically was he always like?
He was just coaching me hard because I never, like, his technique is different from any other technique I've been doing. And he just basically didn't quit on me because, you know, sometimes I wouldn't get it or it wouldn't translate how he was telling me to do it, wouldn't translate with how I was playing. And basically after, like, every rep on scout team, he would come run up and tell me what I did wrong while I have to look at a card and go play the next play against Josh Sweat or Hassan Reddick or somebody like that. Like, it was just very much so, like, hands-on. He's in my grill 24/7, and, like, I'm glad I was able to receive the best of his coaching, so.
All good? Playing tight end or linebacker this year?
I'm a linebacker. Yeah. What's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
Good.
I guess to start off with that, you know, were you surprised that Pickett didn't put it in your lap after you got open on that play?
Yeah, that was a hell of a run.
Yeah, my surprise. Yeah, Kenny's a great quarterback. He throws a good ball. So that one being a little overthrown, I was surprised.
You played wide receiver in high school, right? Was it running back in college?
Right. Yeah, wide receiver in high school, running back a little bit in college.
So you're used to that? Because that was a heck of a route.
I'm used to it. Yeah, I got it in my body, you know, to do that still. But I'm a linebacker.
Does that translate, though, at all? That sort of anything translate from those days to that you've taken to linebacker?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially my days as a running back. You know, I did that a little bit in college, and just understanding the blocking schemes, and whose phone this is. But yeah, understanding the blocking schemes and stuff like that. There we go. All good. Yeah, but it's definitely helped me and help my development on defense as well.
How much did playing last year help you in terms of your pursuit of making a roster spot this year?
It helped a lot. I learned a lot all through last season. I had some good vets in the room that really helped me. And just being around the league for a year, I feel like I took big strides. Really, ever since I got here originally, and all throughout the past season.
That's a lot of the returners, what the new kickoff is like, that as someone who has to be more physical with it. What is the new kickoff like?
The new kickoff is, it's an adjustment for everybody. It's everybody's first time doing it. But I think it's suited for me and guys like with a similar skill set and body type. So it's something to get used to, but I think we're doing a good job with it really all across the board on special teams.
Where do you feel like you've made your biggest strides? You mentioned you feel like you have, but what specific areas do you feel like?
Instinctually, for sure. The more that I see, NFL offenses and I sit in the meeting room and I get these reps, the quicker that I get with all these reads and stuff. And I think, as far as developing and advancing, I feel like pretty much in most of the things that I do it much quicker than others. And I feel like I've really picked it up, especially throughout this off season and going into this training camp.
You were among the leaders in terms of our team preseason and special teams tackles. Do you consider yourself one of the core members on special teams then?
Definitely, yeah. If there's a play that I don't make on special teams, I feel like that's on me. I feel like I should make every play on special teams. That's my mindset with it. I've been playing special teams for a while, and I want to excel and be seen as one of the best around the league in that role.
What was yesterday like for you? How'd you find out you made the team?
I didn't find out. I just I didn't get the call to come in. So yeah, that's really what it was. I figured that and I was confident going into the day that I wouldn't be getting any calls. So it was just a chill day.
What led to that confidence?
Just the way that I felt, around training camp and being around here too. I was pretty confident in my chances and I had a good feeling going into yesterday.
Was it a different feeling than last year? Like, do you remember what that was like?
Yeah, it was a different feeling than last year for sure.
How so?
I just feel like you get confident in your role and where you fit in on the team. This year was different than last because I felt like I could understand that more, and the way that I played through training camp in this off season I feel like was different, more so than last year. I feel like I'm much more advanced than I was last year at this time.
What's changed for you with Vic's scheme?
For me, I'm just a sponge with taking in all of Vic's material and learning all the things that he has to teach. He's been around the league for so long, and this defense is his defense. He has the answers for, all the things that we could, see from an offense and all the things fundamentally and technique-wise. So that's just what's changed for me. I just, I'm taking in all the information from Vic.
Vic said he likes to keep the crew of linebackers on the field as much as possible, but he might have to platoon situationally. Where do you feel your strengths are, particularly on the field in different situations?
I feel like I could be used in a bunch of different roles. I feel like I cover well. I fit the run well too. So whatever is going to be asked of me is what I'm going to do. Most definitely.
Now that your first training camp is officially complete, how would you assess the way that you played, and what did you learn about yourself going through the process?
Yeah, I feel like I had a good training camp. Learned a lot from the veterans. Really got to learn the new defense that is new to me coming from college. Just trying to make sure I do my job when I'm out there, make the most of the opportunities. I feel like during training camp I was able to do that, and I'm just extremely grateful to be able to make the team, and I'm looking forward to this upcoming season.
Was there a light bulb moment for you in the defense, or where do you feel like things started to open up?
I feel like once when we got back and we actually started training camp, those practices before when we in just shorts and t-shirts, it was a little bit trying to learn the defense, trying to learn the new scheme. But once we came back, everybody was really comfortable in the scheme, and just try to build on what we learned in those previous practices. But when we put the pads on, just make it go a little bit faster, and really try to be free out there since we knew what we were doing and where to be.
Where do you think you improved the most this summer?
I think I improved in a lot of areas. Whether it's pass coverage, block destruction. I know for us linebackers, that's a big part of what we were focusing on. Just because, shoot, if you can't stop the run in today's game, they're going to run the ball every single down if they want to. So that's a big area. But I feel like all areas I was able to, improve upon, and I just try to look to improve on, every single part of my game, really.
What do you like the most about Big Scheme?
I'd probably say the versatility. He'll blitz his linebackers, he'll drop them into coverage. He does a lot of things out of the same look, so he really teaches us how to try to disguise coverages, because when you try to make a quarterback think on the fly, that really helps the defense overall. So I feel like he's very versatile in what he does out of the same look, and that's something I noticed in defense.
Did you talk to your father when you made? I mean, obviously you probably expected to make the team, but did you talk to him, and now you're officially kind of like on the Eagles?
Well, yeah, he congratulated me on making the team, and I figured that this is my first time, but I figured since I didn't get called up or called in, I made the team, so I was very grateful. I thank God for it, and I'm just ready to make the most of any opportunity I get.
What are nights like with Pops at home? Is it watching film, or you when you leave here, is football out of your mind? What's that like at home?
Just regular, really, how it was back in high school, I guess. Come home, I'll be doing whatever I do. Now I don't have to worry about schoolwork, I guess, but, if maybe we'll watch film or something, but if not, watch TV, just chill, just at home life, really.
Through the last couple of years, playing so much on defense in college, will it be difficult if you don't have a big role on defense to start out here?
For me, no. I'm comfortable in, what I can bring to the team, and I'm ready mentally to do whatever I need to do for the team. For me, I'm big on, the overall success of the team. I want to, be able to win games, and if that's whatever it is, whatever role, it's not too little or not too small or not too big for me. I'm ready to take on any opportunity I'm, presented with, and I'm gonna, give 110% effort in whatever role that is.
You mentioned some of the veterans. What have you learned from Devin and Covey and Zach, guys who've been here for a few years in the NFL?
I'd probably say how you got to carry yourself as being a professional. One of the big things I've noticed from them, and like they've shown me, is like being in a routine. Whether it's pre-practice, post-practice, just making sure you're in a routine to make sure that you're at the top of your game, whether it's mentally or physically. That's something I've learned from them coming in.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, guys.
So what was that call? What was it like getting that call saying that, hey, you know what, you made the roster?
So actually, the way it happened is I didn't get a call. So it's one of those things where you kind of wait for that 4 p.m. deadline, hope that your phone does not ring with a Philadelphia area code number that you might not have seen before. But it was definitely a happy feeling. I put in a lot of work. I had gotten a lot of help from guys around me in my defensive line room. As you guys know, we have a young defensive line room, but a lot of like young, hungry, really impressive players in terms of, JC, JD, Milton, Marlon, Morrow, guys that are on the practice squad now, Gabe Hall, all those guys. So yeah, it was definitely a great feeling to be able to put the work in and have it be recognized by the staff, the organization in general. But it's one of these things where, football, nothing's ever final. So you're always, earning your spot in the 53 every single day. And I try to just do that by being present.
How we talked about your time on the practice squad through the developmental program with Connor Barwin. What was that like? What was your approach? What did you work through most?
Yeah, I think Connor Barwin, Matt Leo, a lot of other guys on the staff do a great job of developing the practice squad guys in terms of like actually giving them pointers about, all right, we've looked through all your, your film this week against the ones. What can you do better? Your body leverage is a little bit high here. That's why your power rush isn't working as well. Hand use isn't there. Maybe your recognition of the set isn't as quick as it should be. All of that stuff is drilled in like week through week last year, which I thought kind of gave me an idea of where I was as a player and where I could improve. And for me, that was mostly just being able to like stem a lot of different moves off of the same first 2 steps, In general, I feel like the longer that an offensive lineman is in question or in doubt about where you're going or what you're doing, the more successful you're going to be on a regular basis with how you rush.
In the lead up to that 4 p.m. deadline, did you get any false alarms? Any calls from like
non-215?
Yeah, so it's one of these time periods where you definitely turn your do not disturb off and any work focus you have on your phone. So I don't think I had any real like false alarms. Obviously, you have like robocalls. I feel like everyone's getting robocalls these days. Um, but other than that, it was pretty uneventful, thankfully.
And how did you find out that, like, after the deadline? Did they
Yeah,
say-
so I think I was actually on the phone with my sister, I want to say, and she was like, "It's Instagram official, blah blah blah." So that was a pretty cool moment to share that with my sister, who kind of seen me grind throughout the years and everything else. So yeah, it was a cool moment.
What
Howie
was your
kind of
approach
mentioned,
last year to the scout team, and what do you think you gained from it?
I think when you look at going against what I think is, one of, if not the best offensive lines in the league, it's always a great opportunity. We're going against, Jason Kelsey, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, all these different guys. You look at it as an opportunity to really like hone your skill set because these are the top of the top. So there's not too many opportunities that you get as a player to constantly hone your skills against the best at the position. So when you carry that on to, other places or, in training camp against other guys or other teams in preseason, you start noticing like, wow, no, I was going against some dudes. I think the game can, just be a continuation of practice or even easier with the quality of guys that we go against on a daily basis.
You mentioned most about Jalen Carter this year compared to last year.
Man, JC, obviously a crazy athlete in terms of his movement style, in terms of his body control and everything else. But just the way that he approaches the game, I think he's always been a student of the game. But just this year, I think it's a little bit different in terms of his level of detail and everything. I think the same thing with JD. Everyone, as they come to, coming to age in the league, at least, you start becoming more dialed in and more comfortable and more confident. And I think you can feel that in general in the room, not just with JC, but with Jordan Davis, with Milton, all these guys. We're asking more detailed questions about what we can do to get an advantage pre-snap. Post-snap, we're talking about hand usage in ways that we weren't maybe last year. So in general, like I think with most professions, as you get to year 3, year 4, you start getting a tenure in it, the detail level just goes up.
Came into the league, drafted, you played as a rookie. Not being on the field or even dressing out with the team for a whole season, disappearing for a bit, what perspective did that give you?
Man, it gives you a lot of perspective. For me, I was coming back from a hand injury last year. So not being able to kind of strap it up and play was definitely one of those things where it makes you sit there and be like, wow, like I need to be out there. I felt that before, but the urgency was different. I feel like after going through that last year, I think just the appreciation for the opportunity that you have becomes even greater. That was definitely something for me. And when it came into this training camp, year 3 for me, I think a lot of the time, like in college when I was a junior, I felt like that's when I really started hitting my stride. I'd done it twice before. The spectacle was gone a little bit. You stopped getting as nervous and seeing all the bright lights, and you just ended up playing football like you had been for the rest of your life. So I think that past year kind of put the urgency in me a little bit more. And then also just being in my 3rd year gave me the comfortability and the confidence that I've needed to perform.
That's a deep room, so it may be difficult to get on the field. What do you think you can offer off the field in terms of that room and leadership and helping some of the younger the guys who are also equally as young as you are?
Yeah, I think I think our oldest guy in the room is 25. I'm 24, about to turn 25. So I think the great thing about it is that there's leadership in the room, but also everyone is willing to learn. There's a lot of servant leadership there in terms of like when guys have questions, I'm always gonna try to answer them as best I can. Ask the question, ask the dumb question that maybe everybody has in their mind, but no one wants to say. But in general, I think we feed off of each other's work ethic and the intensity that we have. JD, when he breaks down practice or breaks down our huddle before we go out to practice, there's always like an energy and a fervor that kind of gets passed on to everybody. I think that in terms of an off the field thing, I try to lead in whichever way I can. If that's vocal, if that's non-vocal, if that's just in terms of the way that I exemplify effort and work ethic and practice, however I can, get in where you fit in.
You mentioned honing your skills last year going against the O-line. Where do you feel like you've grown the most in terms of your skill set?
Yeah, I think that for me, just in general, being comfortable like down to down with whatever's going on and being able to process things pre-snap from like a subconscious level, like understanding, body attitudes of offensive linemen kind of more intuitively. So, it's 3rd and 6, but I see that there's kind of like a bit of a forward lean. So I'm thinking, all right, yeah, I'm ready to pass rush, but also could be a rundown. And then in general, just my pass rush, I think that I have more of a system of it, like I was saying before, being able to stem like 3 different moves off of the same first 2 steps. I think that's just helped me become more unpredictable and more successful as a pass rusher.
You have some familiarity with Vic Fangio style defense dating back to your time at Stanford. Just based off of your experience there, how do you feel like the system can play to your strengths?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Vic was at Stanford, I believe, in 2008, around that period of time, and we've used a lot of his defensive principles at the school. So for me, that's what I was in for 4 years. I was having to play 3 technique, 2 technique, 1, and then also out to 5 technique, like I was doing, with the Vikings preseason game. So there's a lot of comfortability in terms of the way that that system works. A lot of the install that we've been doing are things that, I've actually looked at in college. I still have a notebook from actually an iPad from when I was at Stanford that I always used to write in that all the plays are still the same, most of them. So definitely some overlap there that's helped my comfortability and confidence in the defense.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.